What is up, comic fam? Then I started the show on time per the third scheduled time, but all the same, happy Tuesday, happy new DC day, happy new comic book day. If you're lucky enough to get your DC books on Tuesday, which I am, I know not all shops do that, but the good ones do. The good ones definitely do. So let's see what we got here. Let's go ahead and do this intro, and then we'll dive into some DC talk and check out some other stuff, some news articles that just came to my attention that definitely looking forward to diving into, getting some feedback from some of you in the chat. So let's go and kick it off. First, let's thank the sponsor. Let's go ahead and give a big thank you to Big Time Collectibles. Be sure to check them out at bigtimecollectibles.com. If you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit up Justin's comic. The link to him is also in the description of all my videos. Use the promo code We Are Legion. Take advantage of that special offer. And a huge thank you to the Augusta Book Exchange, without whom today would not be possible for me. So be sure to check out the Augusta Book Exchange if you're ever in the area. And let's go ahead and bring in my good buddy backstage. Just popped in. What is up? You smoldering white hot sex god. How are you?
I thought I was until I saw you in the tank top, and now I'm like, fuck.
Dude, it's hot outside. It is hot outside. I'm in elastic pants or elastic shorts and tank top. That's how I live my life.
Elastic pants.
Not pants, just shorts. The waistband.
Oh.
I think you would call them drawstrings.
Drawstrings are the strings that came out.
Yeah, I've got those on here. Yeah.
Before this turns into an OnlyFans session, let's talk comics.
Well, let's say hey to the chat first. We had Wheelchair Superhero 87 up in there early on. Daddy. Hey, buddy.
I wonder what Kyle's beard looks like. Kyle, you still growing that beard?
You definitely check out his channel and keep up to date with Kyle's beard, if anything else.
Touche.
Trev, the shipping guru, hashtag DC for life. What is up, my man? And Kyle gave that a big stamp of approval. We have Mr. Beckerman in the chat. Well, it looks like I put on my special pants for no reason. And by special pants, I know exactly what he means. And Southern Comic Geek, what is up? He was just as surprised as I was to find out that Becker wears pants.
What does he mean by special? Why are they special?
There's boner pants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When Mark was at the store earlier, he said that he was going to be a pants optional show. We Are Legion is definitely a pants optional show. Flash by Night is up in the chat. What is going on? I'm at work. Or I'd go pants optional as well. Hot pants. What is going on, Blue Hellion Comics? What's up, folks? I heard that Mark is actually naked except for his shirt. Yeah, those are actually just random strings I keep in my lap just to prove people otherwise. Elastiman? You married Elastiman and got busy? Incredibles. Love it. Love it. Nick, what shirt are you rocking? I see some writing I can't recognize. I immediately think
pants are not optional for me. I do have pants on. This is a t-shirt, obviously McFarlane, from a little store here in Texas called Villains and Heroes, I think it's called.
Not Heroes and Villains.
It might be Heroes and Villains.
Either way, it's a pretty cool shirt. I support your use of wearing a white tee. I think they're underrated and people avoid them because they don't want to get them dirty, but they look great.
Thank you.
It makes you look like you have a mad, crazy tan and a soft glow.
What color would my thumb emoji be? White? Not white. White? Not white.
All white.
All white. Full white.
Full white. Becker said he calls it looking for a friend.
It's
from a movie called The Goods, Live Hard, Sell Hard, with Jeremy Piven from Entourage. Yeah.
Used car salesman.
Yeah, when the car dealership owner kept hitting on the other shark that Piven brought with him to the lot to help sell cars, he walks up to the guy like, sometimes I like to go out cruising. I call it looking for a friend. So I'm excited to have you here to talk new books today because I know you're not primarily a DC guy necessarily. So I also know that you pick up a few things here and there.
I'm always on the lookout for a good, and it's not the artwork because I know DC's got great art, but I depend on DC for great stories. So I'm looking for one that fits my bill.
On Tuesdays, I don't do spoilers, but I have read all of these except for one of them so far. But I'm excited to not spoil them, but see what you might think of them and see if I might be able to convince you into jumping onto a new title. We'll see how this goes. That might be the goal of today. But first off, Let me make myself big here. And I know that you saw this, but you might not know exactly what it was. But there's a new prestige format Batman book called Dear Detective. It's just a one shot. Lee Bermejo through and through, artwork and story. Now, this is not a standard comic book. What they've done is they took his previous covers that he's done for like Detective and some of the annuals and specials, and they compiled them in here and then used a narrative story style to connect them together. So you have like splash, they're always splash pages, but then you get one page of writing. And yeah, the way that they put them together, it is absolutely insane because it's like there's a level to this that almost looks like it was planned from early on. But then some of them don't necessarily connect as good, but this was so good. And the whole format to it is like he's reading a letter that's written to him. And not like spoiling anything, but it becomes a cipher at the end that you get to solve as the reader, which is pretty cool. It was definitely fun. The artwork. You're muted, Nick.
I got to use my brain twice.
No. It's not like it's a difficult cipher. It just makes it fun.
Drink more Ovaltine. Hey, you know what? Though? The thing about Bermejo is I love his art, but in like reading Batman Damned, he did the interiors also on that one, right?
Yeah, he did the interiors on that, but he didn't write that.
It's almost like overload. You know what I mean? But beautiful nonetheless.
Yeah, again, these are just the covers, though, just blown up in prestige format. I noticed little things that I didn't notice because I remember seeing this cover, but I didn't realize that his lip is completely split. You can see like the little details inside the wound and stuff. So you just kind of notice more. That prestige format really gives the artist room to shine.
You know, and seeing that picture, I just hear Penguin going, "I got you! I got you!" Not that Batman, though.
What is going on, Brother John is up in here. What's good, brothers and sisters? Happy DC Day and happy DC Day to you as well. So next up, Chip Zdarsky's third issue on the primary title for Batman, issue 127 dropped today. Definitely a good read. It was fast-paced. Chip's writing is solid. I do have like one critique I would give the book, but I'm definitely going to save that for Sunday when we get into spoilers. There's a really cool guest appearance in it that got me really excited. It's also my critique is attached to that person's appearance.
I wonder how Chip feels being number 2 Chip in the world now.
Yeah, he can no longer be the first Chip thanks to Gettler. All hell Chip. So are you picking up the main Batman title?
You know, I picked up the first one, was it 125 where Failsafe came out? It didn't grab me. So I've stopped the subsequent issues, but like I said, I'm always waiting to hop on. I've been seeing that cover, and I really dig that cover. So
the A cover,
yeah.
And so I wouldn't really push this issue or this series on anyone. Well, I think it's fun. It's good. It's still just feels like the normal Batman title to me. I feel like it's a very gimmicky title. Like, you know, we had the designer, then you had Punchline, then you had Ghostmaker, and just the next thing and the next thing, and now we have Failsafe, and it just feels gimmicky to me. They really just do it because Batman's carrying like the backbone of their comic stock right now, and they want people spec buying it.
Are they throwing it against the wall to see what sticks, you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad story. In this issue, you kind of get more details of what the whole thing is, and they kind of link it back to a very famous story in the past, which kind of makes it cool. So it's got a couple of little layers to it. But again, that's one of those things, like if you have like working comic history knowledge, it hits you pretty strong. If you don't, you're just like, okay, and you know what I mean?
I'm just going to try to move over to see if I can become one with Atom Smasher. I kind of feel like his bulge keeps staring at me, but I don't know. Making me feel
it's a strong bulge, a really strong bulge. What would White Shadow do? I'll check it out after the stream, brother. DC beat Marvel always, though. I don't disagree with that most of the time, especially these days. I made it. Hey, y'all, what is going on? El Green Machine is in the house. So this is one that I know that you were picking up when it first dropped. I don't know if you're hanging in there, but Flashpoint Beyond 5 of 6, the second to last issue, dropped today.
I still am.
This issue right here goes hard, goes real hard. This is that penultimate issue. This is, if this was a Tom King story, this would be the kicker book. The one where the twist happens, the mystery gets explained, and they hit that same notes with this one. So this is, for this series, this is the kicker issue. You do not want to miss it, and anybody who's not reading it, heavily suggest picking it up. There's a very odd thing that happens with the timestamp of this book, because DC does run a loose continuity, and their whole idea behind that is to give the creators more room to be creative. They saw what they did with New 52 having the tightest continuity in the history of the company, and it really backfired in a lot of ways. So they kind of went the opposite way with the current stuff, but you kind of get a good timestamp of when these events are taking place, and you get a really cool cliffhanger as well. So this book is super solid. I'd expect nothing less from Jeff Johns, though.
Yeah, I still get a crispy smell in my nose from the first couple issues.
Super crispy.
Super crispy.
Blue Hellion said, debating on focusing on older issues after the current runs. I'm on finishing up for a bit. I don't disagree with that. I'm still working my way through All-Star Comics right now. I had the trade too. Working on some of that Golden Age stuff has felt really fresh to do lately. Darkhold Iron Man #1 for KW. What is KW?
I kind of dug that Darkhold series, especially those two covers, really homages to something, but those are pretty good.
Is that out this week? I felt that was something that ran like a while back. It was a series of one-shots, right?
Yeah, that was a while, but start of the summer, I think.
Yeah, I feel like WandaVision the show was going on when that came out, or started.
Or it might have been right around the time of Doctor Strange.
Okay. All right, so next up, this one I'm happy to have a book out on the series. It's been on hiatus, but I couldn't care less for this one. I hope after I read it, it can change my mind. Dark Knights of Steel. Tales of the Three Kingdoms. So instead of giving us issue 7 or whatever issue we're on, they're giving us a flashback issue to see Kal-El, Supergirl, and Bruce Wayne in when they were growing up, just get a little bit of dynamic from them. I don't need this. I don't need to know how it was with them growing up. We've got as much of that information as I need in the primary story, and I don't know, this cover art is atrocious as well.
Yeah, I think they want to go cutesy now. I think they see how popular Scotty Young is, and everyone wants their little flip on them. But
now, what's crazy is this is a violent book, a very violent book. It should have a Black Label header on it. We'll see. He said, that's my new book. Oh, Darkhold Iron Man. Got you. I always expect more out of Jeff Johns after his ties to Wonder Woman 84. Yeah, that was a huge letdown. I think there was so much more going on with that. I think Patty Jenkins should have been left alone to make that movie. That whole movie was trash. Next up, this was my blind pick of the week going in. And it actually holds up so far, having read a lot of these. It's kind of close with a couple of them. But this is the first Dark Crisis with a full working title. After they announced at Comic-Con that the actual working title surprises Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, like that changes anything. It doesn't. So we have Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, #4 of 7. Super duper strong issue. As you can see, you got Barry on the cover right there. Last week.
Fade in the middle?
No, that is Pariah, the guy from the original Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh,
tried to use the machine and unlock the antimatter monitor guy.
Didn't Pariah have Norman Osborn here, I thought?
No, he has nice hair. But in this, if you look at his shoulders, he's wearing pieces of the Monitor's armor, much like Superboy Prime does. But yeah, so they actually get into a little bit more of the meat and potatoes. The Justice Society of America returned to the scene in that last issue, so we get to see where that goes following their return. The final issue ended with Black Adam showing up to the Legion of Doom, giving up on trying to be a hero and just saying, screw it, I'm going back to my roots. So a lot of good fighting, a lot of good story content, a lot of actual plot progression in that issue, just like Joshua Williamson mentioned was going to happen at Comic-Con. And then next up, last one. It happens, man. Don't base yourself on your performance. It's fine.
I don't even have 10 fingers, and sometimes they still mess me up. God damn it.
Yeah. What I was going to say is this is the issue that Joshua Williamson kind of spoke on at Comic-Con, how this is going to be the one that when it hits, everything hits the ground running a lot faster. And he wasn't lying. This one, like I was saying, has so much more plot progression, so much more of the foundation explained, and it hit on all the right notes. Definitely enjoyed it. And they've also gone back and did a second print or third print, whatever print of 1, 2, and 3 with the full trade dress on it as well, which I'm not falling for that.
Somebody is, otherwise they wouldn't do it.
He had purple hair. Talking about Pariah, he did.
Oh, I was thinking of Jericho also, but Jericho had
blonde hair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He had the blonde curls.
So, yeah,
Dark Knights of Steel, Three Kingdoms was disappointing. Total filler. Yeah, I don't even know why it exists, to be honest with you. It's for people like me who's a completist and wants the entire story. And they've been doing that a lot with the Maxi series. You had Batcat was 12 issues with a special. Human Target, 12 issues with the Tales of Human Target last week or so. This book.
So let me ask you, do you think that they figure out the run size beforehand, or do they plot the entire story and say, hey, all right, we'll make it this?
Talking about for the miniseries or the limited series?
Just in general, yeah. Say, all right, we're going to make a 7-issue series instead of, and then fill the story up.
I think it's both. Like you have times where you have like 7, 8, 12, 6. So it has to have a little bit to do with the writers. You also have time when they see something selling great and they want to expand it. They did that with Swamp Thing. It was 10 issues that by issue 7, I believe it was guaranteed to expand to 16. But you can tell from reading it that it could have been 10, but it was definitely prepared to go farther. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was Ryan that was talking about how we hit 2021 with all these limited series, and it was almost like proving grounds for all these characters. If they sell well enough, they're ready to carry them. If they don't, you've got a mini series. So,
gotcha.
I think with stuff like Dark Knights of Steel, they had it mapped out ahead of time. Human Target, definitely. Anything Tom King, I believe, is definitely mapped out to a very specific degree, just because of the way that he has it formatted. There's no filler in anything. Everything's so intentional. John says, plot the entire series. Dark Knights had a lot of backstory edited out that they put in Three Kingdoms. Human Target added stories to give Smallwood time to catch up. Boom. Yeah, because Smallwood had, I think, 1 page in that special. There was 3 other artists that worked on it as well. Yeah, that Human Target special was fire.
Yeah, like I said, I read that other miniseries, I would say mid-2000s. And just the fact it didn't really have anything to do with the DC universe kind of put me off. But this series I read and I enjoyed because it tied in and you actually saw other DC characters. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Which was the other one that you read?
I think it was right before they came out with that TV show.
Which TV show?
They had a Human Target TV show.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, Jackie Earl Haley, who plays Rorschach and Freddy Krueger, he was the tech guy on the team. Yeah, it came out for 1 season. That's right. Yeah. Yep. So the last book that I picked up today, read it, absolutely loved it. And this was Black Adam, The Justice Society Files, Atom Smasher one-shot. So that's the A cover, which I get as my reader copy because they've been dropping these amazing movie photo variants. Atom Smasher is one of, if not the most excited character I am to see in the big screen, to watch him go big and do work.
He's got the same bulge. It's the same guy.
Same bulge. That's definitely a very familiar front lump.
I'm ashamed that's how I can tell him apart from everybody else.
Yeah. So, those have been awesome. They're prequels to the movie, so it's expanding and setting up the characters inside of the movie universe. It's giving us stuff that I can guarantee you won't be in the film that you would just might think about, might not think about. Little things such as I wonder where they get their costume from. I wonder how they got on the team. Like, I'm assuming since this is not a Justice Society movie that's coming out, they're just a part of it. that they're not going to spend too much time on it. We're going to be focused on Black Adam, you know. So we're getting all that those questions answered in here.
And when is that movie? October?
Yeah, I think it's October 20 something, right?
Next 6 weeks away.
It might be the same weekend that the Comet Curing Cancer event is.
Maybe. I usually go Thursday nights anyway, especially with superhero movies. I'll try to catch the first show.
Yeah, I'll probably go Friday morning like I typically do. Keep Finn out of school, take him with me.
Nice.
Or just put his bulge picture next to the cover to compare.
All right, I'm out of here. All right, see you guys
Please,
later.
get out. Get out.
Ladies and germs, what is going on? Biggie Shack is in the house. What is happening? Aggressive relaxing. 8 out of 10 times where a hero gets their costume from is funny. This one was not. This one was a never mind, take it back. Put it on the list. So yeah, definitely put it on the list. Much like Peter Parker's costume story, you know what I mean? It goes through stages. New trailer for Black Adam this Thursday. Oh, I'm on the fence if I should watch it or not. I'm excited to see it, but I
I'm
don't
so
know.
close.
Nick,
It's what, a month now?
Yeah, October 21st. Kyle says, "What is going on?" Norn Rad 82 is in the building.
Yeah.
Nick looks like sitting in Adam Smasher's belly. Yeah.
That's why now I'm his head.
Trev, go pick up those books we just talked about. You won't be sad, especially that Batman Flashpoint series if you haven't read it.
Shit, send me a 181.
I wonder which 181. I don't know.
Well, I guess
Flo,
for
how
you-
are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Read some of the DC stuff digitally. I really like Batman. Did you guys
Which
read?
one? 27?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just went through the whole stack. Quick recap on that. I said I enjoyed it. It was good. It was fast paced. I have maybe one critique because there is a guest appearance of a character,
Yeah.
and I have a slight critique about when you first see him. Just one line of dialogue when you first see him seemed very out of character, and that's how we start the books. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Don't do this. Not after we have such a good representation of him right now. Don't you do this?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was cool that it had Bruce apologize for like basically like planning to kill everyone.
Yeah. So that calls back to I was saying I don't really do spoilers, but I said that this issue was really good in the sense that it really gives us more information about the here and now and kind of calls back to an old DC story. So if you've got like DC knowledge and history knowledge, it really links really well. And if you don't, you're just like, okay,
And it's I think it was pretty funny because it's even though it's very serious and action packed, it's like it plays with the idea like he always has a contingencies for contingencies, and it kind of bites him like in the ass, which is pretty funny.
yeah, big time. And I thought it was funny him exploring to figure out because we know from the previous issues, not getting into this one, but we know from the previous issues that he created Failsafe. We also know from the previous issues that he doesn't remember it. So it's fun watching him trying to find that memory.
Yeah.
That was an unexpected little twist with that kicker in the last issue. Are you reading this?
No, I've been waiting for it to be collected, to be honest.
Ooh.
Because that's how I read the original Flashpoint, and obviously the Flashpoint animated movies all together. So, I really love Jeremy Adams, obviously Jeff Johns and stuff, but I think they're collecting it pretty quickly after the 6th issue, so I'm gonna read it all.
After reading this issue, I assumed that it was already like collected, produced, and ready to ship before issue 1 dropped. Because I know that this one got scheduling ships before it released, and you get timestamp for this issue. This issue, you actually know where in DC Comics timeline it fits.
It's dope. I've been like a lot of the DC books I've been reading, and also like I've been using like the Infinite app to dive into like older stuff, which is cool. But yeah, I obviously read Sword of Azrael today, which was another action-packed issue, which had.
Go ahead. Plug the podcast. Do it.
Thank you, Mark. I learned from the best. I learned from the best.
I could smell
But
a
yeah,
segue from a mile away.
we had Dan Waters on the Bada Boom podcast to talk about Sword of Azrael and Arkham City of the World, Order of the World mainly. But this was a really fun issue because it had Azrael versus Vengeance, which is a really cool. Obviously Azrael came along around that time when Bane came along, so it was cool to see them go toe to toe. And I think Vengeance is a cool character, and out of that Tinian run is one of those characters that's actually sticking, which is cool.
Nice. Who won?
It's typical comic. It's like Fast and Furious, always a tie. Always a tie. No one wins.
Gotcha.
Only the second issue, so. But it does dive a little bit deeper into, the Order of Saint Dumas and how, Azrael is not the only one that was programmed to be this person that acts as like this
A killer.
Yeah, killer, exactly.
The hand of the Pope. Yeah. Nick, have you kept up with Azrael in recent days? He started to show back up on the scene pretty strong this year with Dan Waters. What is it? How do you say it? Arkham World?
It's Arkham City, Order of the World.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I've just caught up with John Paul when he first hit the scene in the mid-'90s.
Yeah. I did a little flex on Flow today when I knew he was having the guest on, but when the show premiered, he shared it. I went ahead and sent him a picture of a book. Like, here you go. This is what we're talking about. Little first
the books that don't show up on Pop's Attic.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of keys showing up. So in regards to that, if you guys are ever looking for fillers, random books, just good price books, price to move. Like, you don't even have to bother sending me an offer, because I'm going to tell you no. They're already priced at their bottom dollar. They're just already there, And there's going to be a lot of shifting of inventory on it, because we're getting down to the bottom of what he's trying to clear out from his boxes. I've got long boxes for days over here that are going up there next. So it's a lot of random stuff. It's going to be a lot of little minor keys, especially modern Marvel keys and stuff like that. It's stuff I accumulate that I don't keep from mystery boxes and giveaways and all kinds of stuff. I don't even know where half of stuff comes from.
Your pull list, you just get books that you read and
no my pull list is my collection.
No,
I find that very ironic. There's no haggling from the master haggler.
No, exactly. I skip the waste of time to haggle and just go ahead and put them up there. I share it out every now and then when one that most people aren't. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it. Like Becker scored like a $60 book for $6, stuff like that. I'm not looking to cap on people. Some of these, some of the stuff that goes up there that I might have paid a little more for, I do have to put like my bottom dollar close to hopefully get my money back. But there's some stuff I bought that's going up there. Like I tried to get those Gleason covers for a while, then they kept making them. Like, yeah, I give up. I don't need these.
Yeah, I've been trying to do the same with the Knicks, Kicks, and comic sales. That's what I'm up to now.
Is that all getting posted here soon?
It's all being CLZ'd for what I want to keep in my collection and what I want to be putting for sale, and then I'm gonna rebox everything. So,
yeah, I did that one time, Biggie, and I did extremely well. I'm pricing stuff just to move it and get it out, clearing out space, and I did really good. Made just a little bit over $200 on there, but I'm only off every other weekend, and then even then it's contingent upon what my wife's schedule is. This past Sunday, it was just me at home with the kids. I couldn't pull that off. Plus, I want to hang out with the little brats. They're fun.
I just want to see how.
Looks like you're reading a long comment or dozing off.
No, I was just waiting. I'm with Nick. I was going to see how long we could do it for.
But they are you guys reading any? I'm actually excited. Tomorrow, the new Philip Kennedy Johnson Alien comes out, so I'm excited for that. I love.
Is there any reason why they started it over at issue 1?
money. That like Marvel's like whole scheme is like relaunch with number ones, even if it's the same creative team and all that. Because it really makes no sense because the first 12 issues was broken up into two separate story arcs anyway.
Was
So
it
like if
following
you
any of the same characters though? Because historically, with Alien and Predator stuff with Dark Horse, you're not ever following the same character for
yeah
long. You're telling like a contained story, pretty much a movie. You know, the movies just kind of
yeah
jump around and stuff. That's how the stories are. You could do something in the future, then in the present, out in space, then on Earth. I didn't know if that's what they were about to start doing with this, or if it's been like a linear story through everything so far.
I mean, there's obviously like some ties, like there's some like callbacks and stuff, but the first story is more kind of like is actually on a space like a father son story on a base, which is really cool, and then the second one is like on a colony, and that one's a really good. Kind of like the tiebacks really have to do with like the androids, which are like in both stories.
Have they
There's no
named them?
surprise when they, huh?
Have they named them or drawn them after Lance Hendrickson or Michael Fassbender?
No. I think like one of them, they like there's a Lance Hendrickson one in the first story arc, but not the second one.
Because you have like the Canes, the Bishops, and the Davids.
Yeah.
It was David 8 that Michael Fassbender played that series of android.
Yeah, what was sad is like it seemed like Ridley Scott really wanted to make an Android movie, but he's like, I guess I gotta, tie this back
See,
to.
they were good though. That was a great angle to take. I thought that was really cool because we hadn't done it. Like I mean, what was that like for? Like 6, 7 Alien movies at that point. It was cool to take a different angle.
It seemed
That
like he just wanted to make Blade Runner, and it's like make Blade Runner, man.
Yeah. I mean, you can't
that's a
really.
good point. I never really bridged those connections with the replicants and the androids and the alien world. He's got
Yeah,
a
and
thing for androids for sure.
yeah, he's got a thing for it, and I mean, granted, like Blade Runner 2049 is great because we knew directed it, but it's like it seems like
Fine.
really really wanted to make that move.
Yeah, that movie was insanely good. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's got some deep cut sci-fi stuff in there, but it is ridiculously good.
Yeah, that and Dune. I mean, he knows our Arrival. Every sci-fi movie he's done is amazing.
I forgot that that's the same director.
Denis Villeneuve.
Prisoners is amazing. I never saw Enemy, but I've heard that good things about that. But
I
Prisoners
heard
is
that Dune 2 is on the chopping block.
What?
they already started shooting it, so
Well, no, like Dune 2 and the Legendary Monsterverse, because the Dune is attached to Legendary Pictures more than it's attached to WB. So Legendary is looking at pulling out from WB. So I'm wondering how that would affect
yeah, I
it.
think like with Dune, it's like a partnership. So like Warner Brothers has like already has the deal to distribute that movie at least. So like the movies that they already have on a part of that partnership, but the MonsterVerse has always kind of been a little weird. Like I think King Kong, the Skull
Legendary.
Island was legendary, but it was around
All
the
of them.
time they were splitting from Universal. The show they're making is on like Apple TV Plus.
Well, that sucks.
So
I love the Monsterverse. My kids love the Monsterverse stuff. Like we spent all evening last night watching like the '90s Godzilla stuff because most people don't know this, but YouTube actually has a huge catalog of free movies, like newer movies, older movies, and everything in between. And a lot of the '90s Godzilla stuff, when they first started using like computer effects and stuff, like Godzilla Final Wars, the one where they had all the villains and all the monsters up into that time, including the American Godzilla from the '90s, is in it. We watched that last night. It would be a bummer to see the MonsterVerse get messed with in any way. I want to see that keep going. I love those movies.
yeah. Skull Island is like I've seen that movie like 10 times. That movie is so good. It's ridiculous in a lot of ways, but it's like it's an awesome take. But they're like, oh, let's set it in, Vietnam era, 70s. Um, and it's cool. I did like uh, Godzilla versus Kong. I like
Mhm.
that too. It was ridiculous, but in the best way. Like I think
Yep.
they realized, like, hey, it doesn't matter how good the story is as long as we show them fight. And they did
That's what
that.
we're here for. That's literally what we're here for. That
Absolutely.
first one, what's his name? Garth something did it visually.
Gareth Edwards, I think that he did Rogue
Edwards.
One.
Yeah, visually beautiful. Just like Rogue One, you can pause the movie in so many moments and just make a poster. And the way that they rolled out Godzilla was brilliant. Like where they're keeping him hidden through the film and just here's a foot from the perspective of standing in this terminal. And like they have the shelter closing and you saw him for a split second, but not enough to register what he looked like.
Yeah, he did that movie Monsters too. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you don't see the monster till the very end.
But the fatal flaw with Godzilla is the most interesting character dies 20 minutes into it. Bryan Cranston dies. And like it's almost like comedic because they just zip him in a body bag and they like move on.
Yeah, you thought that he was going to be a lot more to it than that. That opening scene was heartbreaking with him and his wife as well.
Yeah.
But
and he even complained about it. He's like, he even said that he had told the filmmakers like, hey, why don't we make this like a father-son story where they're bonding, trying to find this creature and stuff like that. And they're like, no, we just got to kill you, man.
There you go. Have you seen what you cost to keep around? You got to go. This is an unproven property right now.
Yeah.
Last time you did Godzilla, it went real south. Even though I love that movie too. Roland Emmerich is one of my favorite like disaster big blockbuster directors. I mean, grew up with Roland. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like as a kid, that movie was terrifying. As a kid in New York, I was always, and the fact like what's dope about that movie is that like it's shot in New York. You know what I mean? It has like Madison Square Garden. It's like super tight. So when Godzilla's running through the street and stuff like that, I think time has done well to that movie.
Yeah, I agree. He went out like a sack in Godzilla Final Wars, though. He gets beamed down by the basically you have like there's aliens in Godzilla movies, like have been for decades, that try to control the monsters and bring in monsters and stuff, and they beam down Zilla is what they call him. And he gives Godzilla a big roar and runs at him and jumps, and he just smacks him with his tail. He crashes the building, then he just fire breaths him and just destroys him, just wrecks him. One shot done.
That probably was like a commentary on how bad they felt about that movie.
Absolutely, no doubt. What's up, buddy? It's in the rocket?
And it can't push it out. That King Kong right behind you?
That is King Kong right behind me.
Again?
What do you mean again? He hasn't even come down.
How do you know that?
That is
McFarlane movie maniac. I can't get that out.
Use your knife.
Use your knife.
I don't have my knife.
And when you get bigger, you can get a knife and get it out.
I want to get it out because you can't take off because you need all of them to take this big rocket off.
Well, maybe this one will have extra power now. I can't get that out with my knife. That's too skinny. I'll have to find something later. I'll get it out. Just gotta let me find something later, all right?
But it can't take off if all of them.
Tell mommy to go find a coat hanger. Okay.
Mommy, can you find
Knuckles? Why are you staring at my spirit animal? Now monkey's just standing here naked holding. He's got a diaper. I'm standing here with a diaper past. He's just staring at me. Won't give me Knuckles. Hey,
kids.
She's so odd. But yeah, anyway, the MonsterVerse stuff. Hope it doesn't get messed up.
Well, they're filming the sequel to the movie. Dan Stevens is going to be in it, who was in The Guest, which is an awesome movie. And I think they're bringing back a couple characters from the other things.
And what's this for?
The Godzilla vs. Kong sequel, or whatever it's going to be.
The next installment. I really like King of the Monsters a lot. I like that one a lot with Ghidorah.
Yeah, King of the Monsters is weird because, again, it's like one of those things where like they should have probably went the route of Godzilla versus Kong, where it's like the story's like ridiculous and they play it towards that. Like that, I think King of the Monsters takes itself too serious.
Dude, it was nuts. And seeing Godzilla go like full nuclear power at the end when he stands up, his glowing red building just melting around. I'm like, dude, this is insane. Getting to see the ancient kingdom underwater where he lived. I love that.
That was an awesome moment. Again, the most interesting character in it dies.
Kurosawa.
Which Yeah, which, seems to be a problem with those movies.
We're here for the monsters, right?
Yeah. What else? Have you ever read John Ostrander's Martian Manhunter?
No, but I saw that photo that you shared with Dr. Fate there. That was awesome. I didn't know he did a Martian Manhunter solo run.
It's so good. It's 37 issues. All of them are on Infinite, and I just finished it, and it was amazing.
How long did it take you to read all 37 issues?
Probably like a week and a half.
That's not bad.
Yeah. You know, I do
Suicide Squad fame, right?
Mm-hmm. That's who kind of brought them up to speed. He did that whole event, which is funny because I use that as an example all the time when people are like, DC's doing another Crisis. Bro, that's just DC for event. That's all it is. Like Legends, the event that happened in the 80s when the Suicide Squad villain team first premiered. In the context of the book, they call what's happening a crisis, a crisis, a crisis. It's just an event.
It's like saying stick around. It's just something people say.
It's a brand.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
Nick, what's on your get list for this week?
Golden Rage #2.
What is that?
That's where the old ladies fight it out to the death in a retirement community.
I haven't heard of
awesome.
this. It sounds like something you would do in real life.
Yeah, it's on Image. I'm hoping it comes to fruition by the time I'm at that age.
It's a good way to make a couple bucks.
Yeah, and to make my golden years a bit more interesting.
Spend your golden years betting on silverbacks.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
What else? Survival Street #2, also. Twig #5 is coming out this week.
Is that any good still?
I've been enjoying it.
I read the first one. I'm like, yeah, not into it. Sitting there explaining what the purpose of cooking is, and like this is written like it's for 5-year-olds.
Well, that's probably why I enjoy it.
Well, I just meant that first issue because I think Ryan said #3 was like kind of took a turn to like more of what he thinks the series is going to feel like or be about.
Kind of reminds me of it feels like Willow in comic book form.
Nice. It had never-ending story feels to me how they walked into the mountain and it was like sentient and stuff.
Yeah, and I can see a couple of characters winding up like Atreus. So.
Oh no.
And finally, I think Moon Knight 15. I've been enjoying this one. I hope it continues. So we'll see tomorrow.
Small week for you.
No, that's what I'm looking forward to reading. That's probably not all that I'm going to be buying though, as usual.
Gotcha. Flo, what's on your definite get list?
Ghost Rider 6.
Yeah.
Alien. I think that's about it. I mean, maybe if there's an Amazing Spider-Man that's in my pool, I don't read it, but it's there. And yeah, I mean, it's my pool is like getting smaller and smaller, I feel. But that's also because I'm in transition between LCSs. So
luckily, like you said, you have the digital reading sources where you read a lot from both Marvel and DC, don't you?
Yeah, I read the stuff that's like cataloged, and then there's some stuff that I'm like, being space conscious, I'm like, I don't really like Ghost Rider, I've been reading digitally, so I get that on Comixology. There's some other things like Rogues has been a really good indie that I've been reading digitally.
Oh, indie. I thought you were talking about the Black Label Rogues.
Oh, the Black Label, that's good. But Rogues is a cool series. It's about an actress that is a part of like an adapted comic book show that is getting hated on and stuff like that, and then people like some fans of the comic like it's a home invasion thing, so it's pretty cool.
Money, Kyle, strictly money.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Yep. Strictly money. I think tomorrow I've got Ghost Rider. Does Love Everlasting #2 come out tomorrow? It might. It's either tomorrow or next week.
I didn't love Everlasting. I didn't love it.
It felt like the first couple episodes of WandaVision where we're having to participate and take part in something that isn't just to get the catch and then explore our way out of it, if that makes sense. Like it feels like you're in this vintage 50s, 60s romance book, which you are, until you get to the next short story and you realize this is the same person with pieces of a memory from that past life, and then you're wondering why. I'm
Yeah, and
excited.
I think the fact that they're trying to transition to live events also too had something to do with them canceling fandom, transitioning back to live events.
Yeah, and like AT&T helped a lot on the back end technology in terms of like making that live show happen, and they no longer are kind of, I mean, they have a huge stake in the new company, like the merged company, but obviously they're not the ones setting the rules, and they're cutting spending everywhere. So I don't
That's a
even
good
think
point. The DC
DC.
fandom only existed because of COVID.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't even think they're gonna really have a presence at New York Comic Con now that I think about it. I don't know if there's a DC booth. I know there's a Marvel one this year, but
Blue Hellion asks anyone getting the greatest name in comics, Daredevil issue 1. It takes the public domain version of Daredevil from the Golden Age and tells a new story. And for those that don't know, this is the Daredevil with a split costume that's all red on one side, blue on the other, and he has the boomerangs. He's been picked up and used a lot over the years. I know Dynamite used him for a good while when they were doing the Pulp Heroes and stuff. And he pops up a lot. I wasn't picking it up. I'm sure my pops probably is. There's some books that he isn't going to pass up on, and I think that's one of those characters, I'd assume.
oh, Punisher. Does Punisher come out tomorrow?
Yeah,
I've been liking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Punisher's
that
been
was
really good. That's something I read digitally. That's a really
He's
good
about
one.
to face off with Ares tomorrow. We're going to get that battle finally. I think that's a cool angle with Ares, assuming like he should be my acolyte.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watch these are not books for this week, but I do have next week's books up in the queue because I recorded the new comic book day for next week already. It's available for channel members, but I gave Flo a nice shout out in that video because of this book right here.
Yeah.
Nick loved it. Nick, tell us about how much you love this new print.
I love the cover. Linnell Yu is always a win for me.
Yeah, no, but I gave a little shout out. If it wasn't for that Bada Boom episode, listening to Ed talk, I probably wouldn't be giving it a second issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. With that, I liked it just because I never really read the Dark Horse stuff, so to kind of read something like in the Predator verse that was semi good. You know what I rewatched? I rewatched Predator 2 the other night, and I'm so
me
glad.
too. Me and Monkey watched it. Yeah,
I'm so glad that movie exists because it is literally like you can tell some coked out executive was in a room. It was like L.A. gangs, Predator. That's it.
no. Wait. Jamaicans. Now go.
Now go.
Yeah, and
Is
throw
Gary Busey free?
throw a Civil War musket in there also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, when Gary Busey gets cut in half and his top half stays in the air, his legs fall over, it cuts away, it comes back, and then blood's running, but his top half holding the big freeze gun is still up in the air somehow. Like I'm like, this is amazing.
And you know what was awesome too about that particular scene when the Predator essentially blows him up. And then he comes back out of nowhere with just like dust on him.
Get out of here, Harrigan. It's between him and me. Well, in his defense, though, and I thought about this, even when I noticed it, even when I was a kid. So Harrigan he's about to shoot him because like he doesn't have a plasma cannon. He's literally shooting rockets, which is actually a really cool thing if you follow Predator Beyond because the tech always changes. It's not always just a plasma cannon. He's shooting rockets, so he's locked onto him. And then Harrigan blows in the wall and he turns around, but the cannon stays on him and he fires a blind shot. He's not locked on him anymore like that. He's looking at Harrigan and he fires as he's jumping away. Like the guy was nothing to him anymore. So had he stayed on target, he wouldn't have survived. But that's just my rationalization of it. I love Bill Paxton in it.
Yeah,
surveillance is my specialty.
Everything he says, he's like, "That's my specialty. That's my middle name."
Yeah, perfect. Remy, how are you today, good sir?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. I usually make it a rule that if Mark from Legion of Comics puts a link out there, you join it. You join it no matter what.
Definitely appreciate you being here, my man. You made
I appreciate you having me, sir.
Always good.
Predator 2 is an amazing movie. Huh? Prey? Yeah, I watched
Prey yet, Remy? The new one? You're in for a treat when you finally do.
I know. I'm waiting.
Are you one of us few people out here that enjoy Predator 2 is the question.
He probably has it right to his few inches within arm's grasp. Yep.
Yeah. Do you enjoy Predator?
He looks
2?
like he's in the meat hook factory in Predator 2
Me?
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right.
All right.
The fight with Danny Glover and the Predator is wicked. Wicked. It just goes from rooftop to building.
It's not as good as Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't think he thinks.
Yeah, the first one I think wins me over every time. So
I mean, the first one's is a different class. Honestly, I don't really. The other ones is more like ranking them in.
Dude, this is a good opinion. Predators was my favorite. He said, and that's the one with Adrian Brody. That one I thought was fantastic as well.
Yeah, with his Batman voice.
that's where they drop them all in the woods.
Yeah, they drop them in the game reserve for the Predators. Yeah. You get the Predator.
It was a good concept, but I never loved that one. And I think Predator 2 is like part of why I like that one so much is when I was a kid, I saw Predator 2 before I saw Predator.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, so my first experience with the Predator was that. I thought it was right. Gang members, not seasoned killers like in their original Predator.
Yeah, it definitely unlocked a lot of lore. So Blue Hellion says not AVP2, that one sucks. Well, all right, hot take here. I love AVP Requiem. So I saw Alien vs Predator and I was like kind of let down by it, and I just blamed it on the PG-13 rating, just straight up. Like you couldn't deliver what I'd expect from these movies with a PG-13 rating. And there was a lot of it that was cool, like with the history stuff and this and that. But at that point, I wasn't here to see that. I was here to see Aliens versus Predators, and the Predators got drugged through that whole movie. Like they just get waxed by the same alien, and then you get Scar there at the end that really just is the only one that lasts, and he even dies. I just thought it was weird that the Predators, with all this ability, this tech, all this, just get ran through by aliens.
AVP Requiem was just too dark. Like I couldn't see anything.
They went very R-rated, like to the point, like the dad and his son hunting are the first one to get face huggers on him. So what does the Predator do? And they show us he comes and he makes his little. He was like the cleaner. He was like the wolf from Pulp Fiction there, just to clean up the scene. He comes and pours acid on this man and this little kid's face, and you just watch him melt. Like that's what we're doing in this movie. That's where we're going.
And I'll use this as an opportunity to stand on a soapbox and say that Hulu has a great catalog of movies with a shit interface that makes it impossible to showcase that it has all these great movies on there.
Amazon or Hulu?
Hulu. Amazon, that's the worst. That's like bottom of the bottom. But Hulu actually has a really good catalog. It has all the 20th Century Fox stuff. It has all the Predator movies. I think it has all the Alien ones.
Yeah, Amazon, I found out a long time ago, like, I share an account with Pops for all this stuff. He has my passwords and I have his passwords, and we have everything together pretty much. And I figured out with Amazon, I went on there and watched, what is it, Color Out of Space? Or it was an old H.P. Lovecraft movie that had Nick Cage in it. But after I watched one thing, the first movie I watched on there, everything it recommended was now that, but a different version of it. Like there's like I like watching other stuff too, and I don't know where to find it because you just have to scroll sideways through each of these options, and it's all just the same thing over and over.
And no matter what platform you use, a PS5, an Apple TV, a phone, an Android, it's all the same, and it's all the same terrible interface.
Yeah, wasn't it you that pointed out like it's like a multi-trillion-dollar company that doesn't care what's going on with this video platform because it doesn't really bring anything to the table overall for the company?
I mean, that's a fair assessment. I probably said that at one point. But what's weird is, like, again, they spent all this money on things like The Boys, obviously the Lord of the Rings, Power. I haven't watched it yet. I'm not a Lord of the Rings person. But they spend $500 million on it. And it's like, hey, like, this would be like putting, a Gucci bag at an Old Navy. Why would you, you don't like, when you have something like this, you want to present it in a good light and you want to make it easier for people to click on. But I think they don't care because it's most of America is a Prime member, and they already have it as a free service, so they don't really see it as like they're not gaining subscribers from it. It's just an add-on to your Prime.
Yeah, and I think they probably just use their advertisement packages to send people to what they want them to watch. Because I see paid advertisement for stuff on Amazon Prime, and little scrolling through feeds and everything, or watching wrestling on YouTube TV, or actually catch commercials. I see Rings of Power commercials like crazy this past week, and they're always before or after House of the Dragon trailers.
Yeah, and I don't know who watches The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but it's been going on for like 6 seasons. So someone's like watching these things, and it's Nick. Or
Hey, you're about to get your Brooklyn card revoked because of that.
Please do. I'm not a middle-aged white woman, so I will not watch that show.
That's why I feel so close to it.
I think on there I've only watched Invincible and The Boys.
We're about to be hitting that hour mark here, so I'm about to be killing it and going and catching up with the kids here. So I appreciate all y'all hopping on. I appreciate everybody in the chat today. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Definitely consider joining the channel. I'm going to be posting what the September Legion Loot giveaway is for channel members. It will include one of one Austin LeMay 9.8 slab, as well as those books by channel sponsor Big Time Collectibles. And if you want to buy any Legion of Comics merch, check out legionofcomics.shop. I got a mouth to feed over here, people. Let's do this. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark. That's Nick. That's Flo. And that's the Remy Q. But we are Legion.
Got it? How's it going? Well, I just turned it on. No picture.